06:30. Getting ready to head out of Bear Fence Shelter. Good night. There were 3 of us here tonight, or last night, whatever you want to call it. It's a nice shelter area. They've got 2 campsites, one each with 3 tent sites in it, and they're real good tent sites. Have their own bear poles at the tent sites. The other 2 stayed at tent sites, one in one in the other. They both said they snored loud and didn't want to bother anybody, so all 3 of us were pretty well spread out. Had the shelter to myself. Getting ready to head north. About 3/10 of a mile from here to the back to the trail. So I'll be back on trail by 6:45, something like that. Maybe a little after. Headed north. So if you're wondering how far off trail the Lewis Mountain Campground is, I'm on trail, and this is the Lewis Mountain Campground. Looks like every campsite has its own bear box. Probably multiple trash cans. Somebody just pulling out right now. Picnic table at every site, bear box. I don't know where the check-in registration point is. I know that's not as close to the trail as the campground itself, but the campground is literally, there's the campground, there's the AT. So it's that close. And this is the AT headed south and uphill. Still going up what I guess is Lewis Mountain. Not a ton of ups, but trail's been good. You know, some steps. A little bit of rocks, but not much. Headed south. So 2 hours in, 2.6 miles. Talked a bit, probably too much. Met several hikers. 2.6 miles from, like I say, from the hot. This is the first water source I've seen. So probably, you know, if you're a Sobo like I am right now, you wouldn't need it. But if you're headed north and you needed it, you know, there's water here that's doable. Obviously, you can get water at the campground, which is kind of halfway between where I am now and the hut I was at. There's been ups and downs, and there's a pretty good up coming up here. Trail's been real good. One little rocky section, but not much. Still don't know really where I'm going today. There's a hut out 12 miles or so, and no, actually, I think it's less than 12 at this point. And then a couple of other potential campsites farther on. We'll see how the trail goes. Continuing to head south. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Beautiful day. Probably 70 something right now. You can see right here, it was funny, for quite a while the trail was just really overgrown with grass and weeds and whatnot reaching in. They've actually come and it looks like they've mowed it back. I don't know who did that or what, but you know, it's nice right now. And this heads up a pretty good hill. Heading south. Pretty sure it's not going to last long, but it's lasted a little while. This is up and headed south. I knew the trail was going to get rocky. Somebody told me it was a rocky section coming up. It can't go a long ways though, not going up at least, because it just doesn't go that high. It goes up another, well, it could go a few hundred feet. Headed south. Not something you see every day hiking down the Appalachian Trail. Don't know, I don't know the story. Maybe I'll figure it out. Maybe there's somebody around. But as of right now, it's just a stroller sitting alongside the trail. No sign of anyone here. I think it'll be a little bit rough to push that down the trail. I'm headed that way, I think. But that post right there with the metal band will tell me. Headed south. Not a lot to report. Lots of ups and downs. No story to go with the stroller. It's just sitting there, no people around. Be pretty tough to push it on the trail. There was a side trail out to the Skyline Drive, though. My guess is somebody pushed it in and then got off someplace else, maybe forgot about it, or maybe couldn't find it again. So a little bit of rocks, a little bit of up, a little bit of down. Mostly really good. 4 hours, about 5 miles I've hiked. Continuing to head south. Seen a few people, but not too many. Seen a couple that I've seen before. And that's about it. Headed south. Beautiful day. A little warm. Mid-70s probably. But sunny, a little bit of a breeze. Heading south. So I'm heading up. There's a road crossing midway through the park. I think it's 33. I think it goes out to Elkton or something like that. I stopped there as a cement kind of guardrail thing along the side with another hiker and had lunch. Third hiker came along and we chatted for a while. Now I got about 3.5 miles to the hut / shelter where I'm headed. I got 1,500 feet of up though. That's a pretty reasonable amount in 3 miles. Quite a bit of up. And there's a little bit of down mixed in too, so I got 400 feet of down, so there'll be some fairly steep areas between here and the hut. And that's probably where I'm going to end today. I'm not seeing a lot of advantages to going a little bit further and not having facilities or whatever. And talk more about that when I get there. I'll probably film again before, because I'm not within 2 hours, I don't think. I try to do something every couple hours. Bunch of poison ivy on that, growing on that tree right there. Haven't seen a lot of it here in the Shenandoahs like we did south of there though. So I'll take this picture because it shows up well, and some of them don't. As you can see, it says Swift Run Gap 1.2 to the left and High Top Mountain 1.7 to the right. High Top Hut and Spring 2.2 to the right, and that's where I'm going, and Smith Roach Gap 3.3, and then down below it says Appalachian Trail, points north to the left, right to the south. There's not a lot of signs. I talked to a couple of people that said, oh yeah, I walked right by the shelter, because these are all you get. And this one, like I said, the way the sun's shining on it, it shows up and it's really easy to read. Some of them are kind of hard to read, but this is what you get for signs. So you kind of have to stop at these posts and take time to read what's embossed on those metal bands. Anyway, I'm going uphill. I got almost 1,000 feet up in that 2.2 miles, and it's going that way. So I'm headed north. If you didn't know better, you'd think these mountains were made of rocks. Or wait a minute, maybe they are. Still heading up. Been a few rocky spots. This is from the top of High Top Mountain. It's pretty hazy. It's pretty humid today. Pretty warm, upper 70s I'd say right now. Right down there you should be able to see one of the pull-offs, one of the, I think they refer to as overlooks on Skyline Drive. Ready to get going. I'm at the top of High Top and I gotta go down to the other side to get to the shelter. So I don't know, 0.6 away, something like that. A little over half a mile. Headed south.